Think about the job you want or the business you want to build. If you were to take a guess, how many online courses do you think you still need to watch before you're ready to get that job or to build that business? If you were to take a guess, how many more hours of training do you think you'd need before you're ready? Pretty hard to guess, right? I'm pretty sure you don't know. And unfortunately, I don't know either, and nobody on the fucking planet knows how many more hours you need before you're ready to build that business, to get that job. Think about it. Someone who goes to college for 3 years, and in the last semester, they just choose like, no, I'm not watching this particular course. And like, because of that, like they watch all the courses in the program, they get really good and they learn all the skills that they need to get their degree except one course. If we can agree that the person who has just skipped one course can still be incredibly valuable, the big question is that if you can skip just one course and still be good, how many more courses do you think you could skip and still be just as valuable or close to as valuable as someone in college who would have watched all the courses in the program? Like, what's the real number? Can you just skip one course and still be good? Can you skip 3? Would you say a person can skip up to 5 courses and still be relevant? Is it 10? Is it 15? Is it just 2? It's hard to guess, right? But we've all been conditioned to think that like you need your degree, and at the point you have your degree, you're ready. But is that true? Is that really the last course that turns you from being completely useless to like the biggest expert in the fucking world that everybody can depend on? Like, is this really that one course that turns you into a nobody into a somebody? I've met a girl, one of my colleagues where I used to work at, it was an ad agency. The girl was a graphic designer and a communications consultant. And man, she was good. She was really, really good. She took on almost all of our contracts. The girl was awesome, amazing, and she made such awesome communication pieces. She was one of the most talented girls I had ever seen. And the reality is that one day I talked to her and I talked about my education, and she told me about her education as well. And she told me, man, I never finished college. I just went to college 2 years and then I applied for this job. So she never finished and got her degree in college, but I saw her being an amazing employee nonetheless, and she was almost running the business. If I take an example from Canada, like there are people who study in architecture for 1 semester in college. Like they study and they have just 6 months of learning, and they just move to one of the northern provinces like Nunavut and Northwest Territories where there's almost no people, and they manage to get hired because there's just so few people there who can offer like architectural plans, that even though they just have limited training in architecture, they can still get a job there and start making house plans and building plans. This happens. This fucking happens. Obviously, it's not going to happen in, let's say, New York. So we can agree that depending on your area, the number of education you need to have is going to be different. However, 6 months in college, like these people are ready to make house plans. Would you trust a physician, a doctor who just went to college 6 months to perform surgery on you? I'm not sure. I wouldn't think a doctor who just goes to college for 6 months is ready to operate on people. I don't. But if architecture people can, how about your field? No one's gonna come and tell you that you're ready. You're gonna have to decide that yourself. And I think the only really real way to figure out if you're ready or not is that after every fucking course, just try to get a job, try to get contracts. Do it. Like, if you're not ready, cool, learn more. But if you're ready, cool, get a job now. Don't wait, don't get courses and give yourself artificial barriers that may not exist. Don't force yourself to go through more courses than maybe you would need. Don't procrastinate on building the business of your dream. Don't procrastinate on getting the job you want, because oftentimes, like, the barriers you put yourself, the requirements that you think on the number of courses that you think you still need to watch, sometimes you're just inflating these numbers because you're not feeling ready yet. But maybe you are, maybe you just are. Like, trust yourself. After just 6 months, when I got my first job as a programmer, I never told you this. I've been through the web developer boot camp, only half of it, and I felt I was kind of ready to get a job, but I wasn't sure. You know what I did? I gave it a shot. I contacted entrepreneurs and I tried to get a job. And you know what? After just 6 months of learning, in a job that usually takes 3 years of college, I got my job. I don't know if it was going to take you just 6 months, maybe more, maybe less, but I think you owe it to yourself to try. Because sometimes the height of the fence that you need to jump over sometimes is just a lot fucking lower than you think. Like, I wasn't hoping for much when I tried to get my job after 6 months. I thought, like, it's very likely I'm not gonna get my job, and who cares? Like, I'm gonna try anyway. And it paid off. I got my job. I started getting paid $18 an hour, and it was cool. Like, it was an awesome job. I was able to contribute. Like, everybody found my talents valuable. I thought after 6 months, I can't be as good as anybody. I was afraid. I tried not to make I tried to hide that. I was insecure. I didn't want people to realize that I was not that good or anything. But the truth is that I kept impressing them over and over. And I just had to realize at one point that it's not the number of courses. I didn't necessarily need more courses. I was ready. I just didn't believe I was. And maybe you find yourself in the same situation, and maybe you'll find yourself in a similar situation one day. And if there's one advice I can give you, is that if you have a doubt, you should at least give it a shot. You should try to get that job, and the worst thing that happens, they tell you no. But if you don't try, you know what can happen? You can spend months and months and months learning shit and wasting your time when you could have been ready, and maybe you would have gotten that job months earlier if you just had tried. If you just had tried. So yeah, try. Give it a shot. Try starting that business now. Try applying for these jobs now. If you want help on how to build your resume, on how to, the best tips I can have on how to get a job as someone who watches online courses, click on this video. This video is going to help you. This is the exact resume I used to get my first job. Check it out. I'm going to give you a ton of tips. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Take care, and trust in yourself.